Compliance auditing serves as the formal mechanism by which organizations prove that their security practices meet legal, regulatory, and industry requirements. It provides assurance to regulators, customers, and stakeholders that information assets are being protected according to recognized standards. Audits are not merely about passing checklists. They value accountability, discipline, and governance maturity. Through regular audits, organizations can identify weaknesses before they escalate into violations or penalties. More importantly, compliance auditing reinforces executive oversight, ensuring that security strategy remains aligned with enterprise objectives and that leadership remains accountable for protecting organizational integrity and trust. The global compliance landscape is vast and interconnected. Multiple frameworks govern different sectors and jurisdictions, often with overlapping requirements. International standards, such as ISO/IEC 27001, bring consistency and harmonization, while industry-specific laws like HIPAA, PCI DSS, and SOX demand specialized audits tailored to unique operational risks. For multinational organizations, this complexity can create duplication and fatigue. Consolidated compliance strategies that map common controls across frameworks reduce redundancy and streamline oversight. Effective global programs recognize that while regulations differ in detail, their goals, protecting data, ensuring accountability, and building trust, remain universal. ISO/IEC 27001 represents one of the most globally recognized standards for auditing information security management. Its structured framework evaluates how organizations establish, implement, and maintain their information security management system, ISMS. Annex A controls serve as benchmarks during the audit process, covering governance, operational, and technical safeguards. Initial certification audits assess design and effectiveness, while ongoing surveillance audits verify continued compliance. Maintaining ISO certification signals maturity, consistency, and global credibility. For executives, ISO/IEC 27001 audits provide confidence that governance structures are not only compliant, but also aligned with internationally accepted best practices. NIST-based auditing standards form the backbone of security assurance for U.S. federal agencies and contractors. The NIST SP 800-53 Control Catalog provides a comprehensive set of security and privacy safeguards used to support compliance with the Federal Information Security Modernization Act, FISMA. Audits based on this standard verify that controls are properly selected, implemented, and maintained throughout the system lifecycle. The NIST model also integrates with enterprise risk management, promoting continuous improvement. Although designed for government systems, its risk-based methodology is widely adopted across industries, serving as a blueprint for structured, defensible governance. The COBIT framework focuses on the governance and management of enterprise IT. Unlike purely technical standards, COBIT emphasizes how IT aligns with business strategy and value creation. Audits based on COBIT evaluate process maturity, accountability, and control objectives that tie technology operations to business performance. This framework provides measurable criteria for assessing effectiveness and supports executive oversight through structured reporting and dashboards. COBIT's focus on integration, connecting technical processes to strategic goals, makes it an invaluable auditing model for executives seeking holistic visibility across governance, risk, and compliance functions. Payment security frameworks, such as PCI DSS, introduce stringent requirements for organizations that handle credit or debit card data. PCI DSS audits examine encryption standards, network segmentation, and continuous monitoring to ensure cardholder information remains protected. Compliance is mandatory for all entities involved in payment processing, from merchants to service providers. Certification demonstrates that the organization maintains the trust required to process financial transactions securely. Non-compliance can result in severe fines, reputational damage, and even loss of processing rights. For CISOs, PCI DSS audits serve as a practical test of operational rigor, proving that security extends beyond policy into measurable action. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX, bridges financial integrity and information security, linking IT controls directly to the accuracy of corporate financial reporting. Auditors examine system access controls, change management processes, and logging mechanisms that ensure transparency and traceability. The CISO works closely with finance and audit teams to validate that systems supporting financial data are reliable, secure, and tamper-resistant. SOX audits are not solely technical. They reinforce accountability by verifying that executives have established sufficient oversight and internal control. The result is confidence that both financial statements and the systems producing them meet the highest standards of integrity. In healthcare, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, defines strict compliance obligations to protect patient health information. HIPAA audits assess whether administrative, physical, and technical safeguards are functioning effectively to preserve confidentiality and integrity. Review areas include access management, encryption, and breach notification protocols. Enforcement actions often combine penalties with mandatory corrective action plans, emphasizing education and improvement. HIPAA compliance demonstrates not only regulatory adherence, but also a commitment to patient trust. For healthcare organizations, the CISO's role extends beyond technical security to stewardship of ethical and legal responsibility. External auditors play a pivotal role in compliance assurance by providing independent evaluation and credibility. Their objectivity ensures that findings carry weight with regulators, boards, and customers. External auditors verify both control design and operational effectiveness, offering an unbiased view of program health. Their attestations often form the basis of certifications or compliance reports required by regulators and business partners. Because their work bridges internal assurance and external accountability, effective collaboration with external auditors strengthens both transparency and trust, two pillars essential for long-term resilience. Internal audit functions complement external reviews by maintaining ongoing oversight. Internal auditors conduct regular assessments, often aligned with governance committee schedules, to identify issues early and recommend corrective actions. Their proximity to operations allows them to provide continuous feedback and monitor progress between external audit cycles. Collaboration between internal and external audit teams reduces duplication of effort and minimizes audit fatigue across departments. Together, they form a dual assurance system, internal audits fostering readiness and external audits validating credibility. This layered approach ensures continuous improvement while maintaining independence and objectivity. Unified compliance frameworks are transforming how organizations manage multi-standard obligations. Crosswalks and control mappings, linking ISO, NIST, PCI DSS, and other frameworks, allow evidence collected for one audit to support others. This consolidation reduces workload and enables a single, integrated data set for reporting to multiple regulators. For multinational organizations, unified frameworks are indispensable, simplifying communication and increasing efficiency. They also enhance consistency, ensuring that controls are implemented uniformly across business units and jurisdictions. By aligning once and auditing many times, organizations achieve both efficiency and defensibility in global compliance. Audit evidence forms the foundation of any compliance review. Documentation must demonstrate not only that policies exist, but that they are enforced and measured. Common evidence includes policies, procedures, and process records, system logs and configurations, and access records showing traceable accountability. Employee training certifications and policy acknowledgments demonstrate cultural alignment. Evidence of continuous monitoring and corrective actions validates that compliance is ongoing rather than episodic. The completeness, accuracy, and accessibility of evidence determine the credibility of audit results, transforming theoretical compliance into tangible proof of control. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Auditors frequently identify recurring findings that reveal where organizations struggle most. Incomplete or outdated documentation is one of the most common issues, particularly when policy changes are not promptly reflected in audit evidence. Weak access management and insufficient logging practices often expose gaps in accountability and traceability. Failure to apply patches or remediate vulnerabilities within defined timelines also appears frequently in audit reports, signaling inadequate risk management discipline. Other findings highlight policies that are misaligned with current regulations or business operations. These recurring issues underscore the importance of governance maturity, where documentation, maintenance, and operational consistency reinforce one another to sustain compliance readiness. Remediation is the bridge between audit findings and lasting improvement. A corrective action plan should be developed for every identified gap, assigning ownership, deadlines, and measurable success criteria. Governance committees must track remediation progress, ensuring accountability remains visible at both operational and executive levels. Timely closure of findings prevents minor issues from compounding into systemic weaknesses. Follow-up audits validate the completion and effectiveness of corrective actions, while lessons learned feed into future compliance cycles. Over time, this continuous feedback loop transforms audits from periodic assessments into engines of organizational learning and progress. Metrics provide tangible insight into the performance and maturity of compliance audit programs. Key indicators include the percentage of controls passing audits without findings, the number of recurring issues year over year, and the average time required to close remediation actions. Benchmarking these metrics against industry peers helps organizations gauge competitiveness and identify areas for improvement. Tracking metrics over multiple audit cycles also demonstrates progress to boards and regulators, providing a clear narrative of governance growth. Metrics are more than numbers. They are the language through which compliance teams communicate accountability and transparency to leadership. Despite the benefits of structured auditing, challenges persist in maintaining efficiency and accuracy. The regulatory landscape evolves continuously, forcing organizations to update controls, documentation, and audit processes in near real time. Multinational companies must navigate conflicting regional requirements, balancing privacy laws, export controls, and industry mandates. The administrative burden of collecting and managing evidence can overwhelm smaller teams, particularly in organizations with decentralized operations. Balancing day-to-day business needs with audit readiness requires discipline, automation, and strong governance frameworks. When well coordinated, compliance ceases to be an annual sprint and becomes an integrated, sustainable part of organizational culture. Strong compliance audit programs deliver benefits far beyond certification or regulatory approval. They reinforce trust across the organization's ecosystem. Customers, regulators, and business partners recognize that oversight is active and reliable. They provide assurance to executives and boards that governance systems operate as intended, reducing uncertainty in risk management decisions. Mature audit programs also enhance operational efficiency by eliminating redundant processes and controls. By addressing compliance proactively rather than reactively, organizations reduce the likelihood of fines, reputational damage, and emergency remediation. Ultimately, effective auditing positions the organization as a leader in both compliance and governance integrity. External auditors continue to play an indispensable role in this ecosystem of accountability. Their independence gives stakeholders confidence that findings are objective and that internal assessments are credible. External audit results often serve as the foundation for regulatory reporting, investor confidence, and public trust. Organizations that view auditors as partners rather than adversaries benefit most, leveraging their expertise to identify improvement opportunities and refine processes. Transparency in communication and readiness in documentation foster smoother audit engagements and better long-term relationships with oversight bodies. Internal audit teams, meanwhile, act as the organization's early warning system. Their routine evaluations ensure that compliance gaps are detected before they appear in external assessments. They also serve as advisors, helping operational teams design controls that are both compliant and practical. Internal audits reduce audit fatigue by preparing evidence and processes in advance, streamlining external engagements. Their work keeps compliance dynamic, allowing for adjustments in real time as business conditions change. The collaboration between internal and external auditors exemplifies how layered assurance produces stronger, more resilient governance outcomes. Unified compliance frameworks continue to evolve, offering organizations a strategic solution to the growing complexity of global regulation. By mapping requirements across standards, such as ISO 27001, NIST CSF, PCI DSS, and SOX, organizations can test once and report many times. Modern governance platforms automate this crosswalk process, centralizing data collection and evidence management. The benefits are twofold: reduced administrative burden and enhanced oversight quality. When auditors can access standardized, consolidated documentation, reviews become faster, more consistent, and less disruptive. This approach exemplifies modern compliance management, where efficiency, accuracy, and transparency operate in harmony. Automation and technology play an increasingly critical role in supporting compliance auditing. Governance, risk, and compliance (GRC) tools now automate evidence collection, track remediation actions, and generate audit-ready reports. Artificial intelligence enhances these tools by analyzing trends across findings and predicting potential areas of noncompliance. Centralized dashboards provide real-time visibility, enabling executives to monitor audit status and risk exposure without waiting for manual reports. Automation not only saves time, but also reduces human error, ensuring that compliance data remains consistent and defensible. These capabilities transform audits from retrospective reviews into proactive assurance functions. Cultural maturity defines how well audit standards translate into daily operations. In organizations with mature compliance cultures, employees view audits as validation of good practice rather than punitive events. Management promotes transparency, encouraging staff to report issues early rather than conceal them. Audit readiness becomes continuous, built into operational discipline rather than triggered by external deadlines. This cultural shift is achieved through leadership example, training, and communication. When compliance becomes part of identity rather than obligation, the organization achieves a state of sustained audit readiness, a hallmark of governance excellence. The future of compliance auditing will emphasize integration, automation, and adaptability. As regulatory landscapes expand to include artificial intelligence, environmental sustainability, and supply chain resilience, audit programs must evolve accordingly. Standardization efforts will accelerate, with regulators and industry groups collaborating on shared control baselines to simplify cross-sector audits. Predictive analytics will enable auditors to anticipate weaknesses before they manifest. Continuous auditing, powered by automation and real-time data, will replace static annual assessments. The organizations that embrace this evolution will not only remain compliant, but also become more agile, resilient, and trusted in an increasingly complex world. In conclusion, compliance auditing validates that organizations operate within the boundaries of law, regulation, and ethical governance. Frameworks such as ISO/IEC 27001, NIST, COBIT, PCI DSS, SOX, and HIPAA provide the standards by which assurance is achieved. Both internal and external audits play complementary roles, reinforcing accountability and continuous improvement. Unified frameworks, automation, and cultural maturity further elevate efficiency and reliability. When viewed not as a burden, but as a strategic capability, auditing becomes a source of competitive strength, one that sustains compliance, enhances transparency, and strengthens the trust that underpins enterprise resilience.